Lance, welcome to the show.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. Thank you so much for coming on.
No problem. Glad I could help out.
Yeah, I always love your energy. You're one of those people that walk into a room and just get everyone excited and bring the fun.
It seems to rub off on people. I get excited when I talk about real estate.
Yeah, it definitely does rub off. I want to start by talking about when and how you got into real estate.
Okay, yeah, that's well, you got a couple hours or how long's the show? No, I'm
That's
kidding.
what you need.
I'm just kidding. Yeah, so I basically the my first experience with real estate was about 10 years ago. I went into a course, Stan Merrill's course. It was a Fortune Builders course, right? And I went to it was like a seminar. I heard it on the radio. They had it at the fairgrounds. And I was like, oh, babe, let's check it out. Because my wife and I have been partners for 20 years now. And next year, 25 years together, by the way. I wanted to throw that in there. And she makes the magic happen. I'm just the pretty face. No, but so we went to that seminar, and then they basically, it was like a hook, right? They got you up. It was we lived in Eugene, Oregon at the time. That was the hook to get you up to the weekend seminar where they really got you in. And so we went to the weekend seminar. They gave us a free hotel room for the weekend, so we just spent the weekend in Portland. It's 10 years ago, and so that was pretty much the introduction, really, for me. We ended up joining Fortune Builders. We scraped up. It was like a $20,000 pitch at the end, and 20 to 30,000 platinum, whatever. I had $8,500 in my bank account, and I said, "This is all I have. Will you take the? Can I get into something?" They go, "Yeah, we'll cater something for you." And I was like, "Great." So we didn't do anything though for 2 years after that.
So did all that money kind of go to waste, or?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, really, I met a couple of people who were doing some stuff, but I was busy. I had another company. I had a granite tile business for about 18 years. And so we were like knee deep in that, scaling it and building that. So I just kind of didn't ever really get any momentum with the other thing. It was a flipping, business model. And I just didn't get any. It would have been a great time to get in. I should have got in 2 years earlier, but so it took about 2 years. But then I actually started flipping houses about 2 years later.
Got it. Okay. And did you carry that on for several years, or how long did the flipping last?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We flipped houses for about 6 or 7 years, I think. Yeah, it was interesting. It was great. I mean, our first deal we made, the first deal we did, we personally netted $45,000 on it, and it was a creative deal too. So it was kind of cool, right? I had no idea what I was doing. I knew I didn't have any money, and I knew I wanted to flip houses. I had all the contractors in my back pocket because of my granite and tile business. We designed kitchens and bathrooms every day, so it seemed like an easy fit for us, So I found a $90,000 deal. Well, I got $100,000 from a private money lender. The guy that owned my shop actually committed to $100,000.
Wow.
I had a conversation with him, and then we found a property for 90. It was an off-market deal, cash deal. So I had $10,000 to fix a $60,000, $60,000 reno. So I brought in a credit partner, and he had it was a guy that worked for me actually for my granite shop. He brought 50,000 in a line of credit at 0 interest for 18 months. So he made out really well. And so we got that first house knocked out, and we were off to the races.
Cool. Do you still flip houses or no?
I'm not. Well, it's funny you say that, because I do have some partners that people I'm looking at partnering up with in Dallas, actually, who want to flip houses. They basically are in the design portion of it, and they basically kind of GC the deals already. They're acting as the general contractor. So we're looking actually at a few opportunities now that we would actually just come in, raise some capital for, and they would manage the whole thing. So yeah, I would do it. It's going to have to be 40 to 50 cents on the dollar though, with this current market.
Yeah, for sure. So in Subto, we use the word avatar a lot. What's your avatar? What's your strategy? So you flipped in the past. What's your primary avatar and strategy now?
Yeah, I love. Yeah, the avatars are important, right? It's really like what your strengths are, basically, and our strengths and our focus. For me, I'm a visionary connector. I'm a capital raiser. Just kind of organically a leader. I don't like tote that I'm a leader, but it just, I help people out every day, and I encourage newbies. I get on newbie Zooms all the time, so it's just a kind of a role I fell into naturally because of my background, right? I feel like I have a lot to offer, so I just dump into people as much as I can, especially people who've never been in real estate or business.
Mm-hmm.
You get into Subto and there's a lot going on, and it's easy to get distracted, and it's kind of hard to find your lane. So I like to help people every day. I mean, 4 days out of the week, right? I had to scale back a little bit. 4 days out of the week, I'm doing 2 or 3 newbie Zooms every day, every one of those days to just encourage and lift and just pour into the community. I think it's really important that people like us who have experience and have knowledge. I think it's important that we help people JV with them, lift them up, and just try and get them going in the right direction. Get them out of that overthinking, analysis paralysis like a lot of people get stuck in. Yeah. I've never been that guy. So.
Yeah, and it shows, and you definitely are a natural leader. You're just one of those people that always want to give back, and I can tell that you pour your entire self into other people, and I think it shows to everybody.
Thank you.
As a connector, I'm pretty interested in how you find opportunities and how do you get paid being a connector? If you're, I guess, an example for someone, give us an example as what a connector would do for people that don't really know what that would mean.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's funny too, because I didn't really realize I was just doing it, right? Because it's just what I do. I just want to help people out, and that's why we Pace has built a community with Subto and the Gator community that has attracted a lot of people like us, who want to give back and who want to help others. So that was really attractive to me when I joined. But I was just helping people out. I was networking. I was getting in chats, in the live Zooms, and connecting with 3 or 4 people on every live Zoom, and intentionally going in. And I tell people all the time that you need to network with intention, right? Because you've got to be intentional with everything you do in this business, and treat it like a business, not like a hobby. If you really want to make money and do well and be wealthy, so building relationships is number one. And I would just get in and start doing those things. And I'd been networking for years and years. I was involved with a bunch of network marketing businesses. I did Chamber of Commerce meetings, network. They called it Greeters in Oregon for my granite business for like over 10 years, so I had a lot of that prior knowledge and experience. And so I was already just doing it. And I had a conversation with my co-host cohort on my podcast on the Creative Collective, Damon Ponder. He was like, I told him what I was doing, and I was like, man, I don't feel like I'm getting any traction. I need to figure something out. I need to make some money. Yeah. And I was trying not to focus on the money, right? Because I didn't want to focus on the money, but the money was, my bank account was going. So, and I didn't have any other income. I burnt all the bridges. And so he's like, man, you're basically brokering deals, man. You're facilitating these. You're basically the middleman. He's like, man, brokers are some of the most wealthy people in real estate. And, if you do it right, you can get into these deals and put yourself in and monetize off of it. Obviously, and I started just, putting myself into the JV agreements, thanks to Pace and the Gator Tribe. And and what happened was I was talking to people all the time, and people just open up to me because I feel like, because I'm a real straight shooter, I'm an open book. I'll tell people about my background, my upbringing, struggles that I've had, and wins, and everything in between. I think it's important when you talk to new people that you give them a real snippet of yourself, you know, and that's what I do all the time. So I would have people just tell me they had, you know, 100,000 in the bank, 200, $500,000 in the bank, or a self-directed IRA, and I started realizing, oh my goodness, I need to find some deals for these people because they didn't know what to do, where to find it, and I'm a connector, so that's what I started doing. I started monetizing. The very first deal I was able to monetize was 2 points, you know, on an $88,000 lend.
Got it. So are you getting paid in that scenario? Are you getting paid from the lender? Or are you getting paid from the person with the deal, or both?
That's a good question. I don't really. So I started charging a $2,500 origination fee up front because it pays for all the TC work and the vetting that we do. So that's like up front on the A to B. So right up front in closing, we instruct title to get that to us right up front. I figured that out about 4 months ago because we were doing all these deals and we were getting paid, you know, because they're 3 to 4 to 6 months out. So yeah, I don't really get paid. It's hard to say so what I do is on the upfront fee, if the borrower can't afford it, I'll just have them add it to the PML, and then they can pay whatever points on it. But I negotiate between the borrower and the lender. So if someone comes to me and they have a deal and they want to pay me, or you know what, they're offering 20% for $50,000 for 4 months or whatever. I would take it and bring it to a lender at 15 or 16%, you know, and then I would, and so that way I'm really not taking anything from them. I'm just actually putting it in the JV agreement, a flat number, right? So that way we're not violating any usury laws or anything. So we put that flat number, that flat fee in there in the JV agreement as a partner. So we're a partner now, right? Because we're a part of the deal. So it just depends. I mean, I've had some really good ones, and I've had some that, you know, for people I really like if you needed some help, I would just charge you probably that flat 2,500. You know, some people, like if I'm doing deals with people, they're going to get a better deal if I'm doing deals over and over with them, you know. So but I mean, I've gotten up to, man, I had one deal where I made 15% on. It was a 42% return on $108,000. That's actually should be closing like here in the next few weeks, but I was able to get the lender 25% on that deal. So they're getting like, I think about 28 grand on top of their, you know, 108. So I try and get my lenders anywhere from 15. I'm sorry. Yeah. The lenders anywhere from 15 to 20% returns, you know, as much as I can.
Yeah. What advice do you have for someone that either wants to raise money or is a private money lender? Do you have any advice on how to be successful and minimize risk?
Oh yeah, vetting. I mean, vet, right? Vetting the deal is only half the battle, right? You got to know how to underwrite. You have to know how to vet properly, and that's half the battle, because it doesn't matter how good the deal is if the borrower doesn't perform. The deal could be, you know, a 50% return. I don't care what the return is. If the borrower doesn't vet, then it's no deal. You know, people are so quick to jump on deals just because it looks good on paper. Huge mistake. Save yourself a bunch of time and money and don't do it, right? If you get a bad vibe, or if somebody's not getting the information back to you that you need, do not move forward. Like, not worth it. You know, ask me how I know. You know, those rush deals, not worth it. I need money tomorrow. Nope, not gonna happen. You know what I mean? Like, and I get every now and then a lender will back out. Like if it's someone like me who's already vetted and everything's all locked and loaded, and I can send you an email with everything in it, that's a different story. But still, then I really, really try and shy away from those because they're too stressful, and you can make mistakes, you know. So, but yeah, did I answer your question? I get rabbit hole, so I apologize if I missed it.
Yeah, no, you're good.
Okay.
I have a question from that. So do you have a horror story and what you learned from that experience?
Yes, I have. My very first Gator deal was an EMD. Okay, brought to me by two partners that I partnered up with, which I won't name, but I kind of put some blind faith and trust into them, and I didn't really know what I was doing. And we were lending. I put 10,000 of my own money into this deal. They each had 25K in it. So I figured, oh man, these guys, I've done the vetting. They know what they're doing. Don't ever assume somebody knows more than you or has vetted the deal. Always do your own due diligence. That's a huge takeaway from that deal. We basically got ripped off by a con artist on that. Southern California. Turns out this guy was wanted by the FBI, right? Well, the FBI had a case on him. The DA had a case on this guy. This guy was a big time hunk of living crap, right? He's one of those scumbags that would steal money from old ladies' retirement funds and stuff like that. And still they haven't pinned this guy. And he snagged 60 grand from us. And a PML that I know got in on one of his deals. And even after it wasn't like a good deal, they kind of went around me and went into the deal anyways. And but yeah, I was really bummed that they got into it. But it was a really, really shitty deal. And I realized right then and there after that, a simple Google search, my wife Google searched his name, boom, FBI, boom, DA, all this stuff. I was like, dude, simple Google search will go a long ways. So yeah.
Story.
Yeah. That was a hard one. I'm glad we got it out of the way, first time out, right out of the gate. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people would have probably given up after that.
Yeah.
And it felt like it wasn't for them. Was there a mindset there of why you continue to go that route and continue to want to lend money?
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, I knew that I couldn't blame anyone but myself. That's the thing. People blame everyone else and they don't want to own up and take ownership. It was my fault. I got into it. I didn't vet the deal as good as I should have. I didn't ask the right questions. I didn't Google search the guy. I didn't ask for a background check. I put my blind faith and trust into somebody else, and that was a huge mistake. I'll never do it again. And that's why I always, even though we vet all the deals really well, we do background checks, we check public records, county records. Like we go deep. We want HUD statements. We want experience. If you have worked with other lenders, we want to talk to those lenders. We get in deep. We vet these things really heavily. And then we still ask our lenders to do their own due diligence, because at the end of the day, I'm finding a good deal and bringing it to them, but they need to make the decision on if it's worth the risk or not, because at the end of the day, there's always going to be risk involved, no matter how good you vet the deal. I mean, life happens, right? People get sick, people get hurt, people die, you know what I mean? So at the end of the day, it is what it is. You've got to just kind of go with your gut sometimes. But, I mean, even if it's really good, if you get a gut check, man, I would listen to that,
Yeah, sometimes things are too good to be true, and you should probably take the sign. So you've had some horror stories. Is there any deal that you feel like was just a really great story, or it's your favorite deal? You made a lot of money. You had a lot of fun doing it.
Oh, yeah. Yes. My favorite deal, actually, thus far, since I've been in the Subto and the Gator community, is the pre-foreclosure in Frisco, Texas. So this is a fun story. I actually got to be on Jesse Stanton's Network to Network podcast with Shane Evans, too, and I think Chanel. But it was really dope. And I've been on a few podcasts and told the story. It's my favorite new story. I love telling stories, so I can just take this whole time telling cool stories. But I got this. I got kind of this connection with this guy Tony, who's a Subto wholesaler, and he's wholesaling in the Frisco area in like northern Dallas area. And Tony brought me a potential deal. I don't know, about 2 months ago now. And I think he needed some capital, pay off the rears, pay an agent, for an entry fee on a deal, a pre-foreclosure. And he ended up getting ghosted. I got the funds raised within like 2 days. It was like a go. It was pretty, I'm pretty good at raising capital at this point. And so I had the funds raised and I was ready to go. He was like, oh, cool, man. Everything was ready to go. And then the seller ghosted him. We think somebody snagged the deal out from under us. But I won't go into names again. But anyways, you know, you got to watch out. People do that. He didn't have it under contract, so that was a big mistake he made. If he had it under contract, it would have been, you know, golden. But so anyways, he calls me up about, I don't know, 4 weeks ago, and he says, "Hey man, I got another deal. I need $28,000 to get this deal out of foreclosure to pay off the arrears, right? To postpone this foreclosure." And I said, "Sure, man. You know, we vetted the deal real quick, kind of just like real quick. My wife did a little napkin analyzer on it. This deal had like 250,000 in equity, and these people were ready to let it go into foreclosure. It was like a $720,000 house. He had it under contract for $460,000. I was like, dude, isn't that crazy?"
Yeah.
So yeah, I was like, dude, that was an easy yes. So I was like, yeah, I got you, man. And first phone call I made was a lender that had been wanting to work with me. So that's kind of one of the cool things when you start getting traction and getting paid back and getting people paid back, you start getting other people that want to work with me. You know, that's why I share my wins. That's why it's important to share your wins. So this local guy I said, "Hey man, yeah, 28,000. So Tony was offering me a $20,000 return on $28,000 in less than a month, 30 days or less. I mean, I was like, holy shit, that was like, what, an 80% return. You know, if there's any engineers in here, don't quote me on that. But you know what I mean? I was like, bro, I said, I'll split the 20K with you since it's my deal. He goes, yep. So I was in it at 10K, right? So it was like Labor Day weekend. I always forget to tell this part, damn it. Friday, Labor Day weekend, he gives me this deal. The deal's going to the auction steps Tuesday morning. And so I'm like, dude, right? Okay, so we have 3 days, but we don't have any days to talk to any banks or title companies or anything. So we had like basically everything figured out. We had the wire all lined up and everything to pay the arrears off. And we called a friend of ours who was he's pretty well versed in foreclosures. Evan Hall, he's a super cool dude in Dallas. Called Evan. My wife did actually, and she found out that even if we pay off the arrears, that the bank could still technically foreclose on the house. I did not know that. So we potentially were getting our lenders' money into, you know, a potential really risky scenario that we weren't willing to do. So my wife was like, babe, I don't know what to do. I think this deal's dead. I was like, looked at it, I was like, bullshit, isn't it dead? No. There's too much money on the line here. And like, we need to help these people. They've already been through a divorce, you know. They were just buried their heads in the sand until Tony found them. You know what I mean? He ended up getting them each $25,000 on this deal. But so it was a really cool deal. I didn't want to let it go. I reached out into my network. And I talked to Chris Crump. Chris Crump is in Dallas. He's known as the Dispo King. I reached out to Chris. I said, hey, man, I need a foreclosure specialist, like someone who could stop this foreclosure. And he goes, I got you. Sent me to this other guy. I don't remember his name. Then he had a number for this awesome girl, Angie Acosta, right? Angie stops foreclosures. Like, all she does. Like, she has a whole business stopping foreclosures. It's not like, damn, another business within a business within a business, you know. And so she charges $600, and we actually did a lot of the work already. So she actually gave us a discount, which was super dope. So $300. She goes, yeah, I can get it done. I'm like, tomorrow morning, because we have it's gonna hit the courthouse steps, the auction steps in the morning by 10 a.m. Yeah. She's like, yep. I was like, okay, you know, here we go. So we put our trust into her and in the team, right? So she calls them up within 39 minutes of the auction. Boom, got that foreclosure postponed. And the really cool thing is she just got it postponed to the wholesaler's closing date, which was in like 2 or 3 weeks. And the really cool thing is I didn't have to bring any cash to the table now. I didn't have to pay off any arrears. Now we had 2-3 weeks to work on. I got back to Chris. I said, hey, can you dispo this for me? He goes, yeah, man. Well, I said, well, what do you charge? He goes, well, whatever it is, we'll just split it on the back end. I was like, totally cool. Let's go, man. And we couldn't get in for a whole week. Okay, this house, the owner, the husband was in Europe with his son at some like I don't know, some sport event or something like that. So we couldn't get in. He said he was sending his cousin and then his friend, and then literally I had the wholesaler. Thankfully, was only 30 minutes away, but he went up there like 3 times and got ghosted, and we were getting like irritated and like tripping out. I'm like, oh my god, we only by the time it was all said and done, we only really had a little over a week to dispo this thing. We didn't have photos yet. And I'm like, oh boy, what are we gonna do? I mean, I had full faith in Chris. I knew he's not nicknamed the Dispo King for nothing, right? And I knew the area was super hot. The equity, it was a killer deal for somebody. I knew it would sell quick. So we got in. I actually went up there to meet Tony one day, and it was like 100 degrees. We were outside. We were just dripping sweat, waiting for the cousin to show up. He never did. So I went to a meetup that morning out there too. But anyways, it's like 2.5 hours from my house. So I go, Chris. Chris gets it on, does his little magic. He's got all kinds of systems, and he knows a ton of buyers. The dude got it done. So that was another $2,500. So I just walked through real quick. Wholesaler brought me this deal. I raised funds to pay off arrears. The funds weren't even needed because I found a wholesale specialist or a foreclosure specialist. Then I had the dispo guy in place to sell the deal. You know what I mean? So my part in it was doing what I do every day, was just connecting and building the team. And we had faith in that team, and we put a rock star team together, and they performed. And we made $22,500 in the 3 weeks from start to finish on that one deal. Yeah, isn't that cool?
That is really cool.
That was a good one.
Emotional roller coaster, though.
Yeah, for my wife, I don't really get tied up too much. I mean, I'm like, it's either gonna work or it's not. If it's, we do everything we can, and then it's out of our control, right?
Yeah.
But
what were your takeaways from that deal?
Oh, I realized that I could put a team together and let them do their thing. I mean, it was really powerful. And it really spurred me into action because we started bottlenecking with our gap lending business, that I decided to start building a team. And so we made the mess. And I think I reached out to you and asked you like some questions about team building, right? And so we started building a team. Right, we got a systems and processes guy. I'm getting my CRM dialed in so I could do email blasts, I can do campaigns, I can do, social media content. I can, have that stuff automated. Do it once a week and have most of it automated. Like, there's so much that's going to do for us to free up time. And then we brought in someone to help underwrite deals and vet deals, for us. And we're looking at actually starting our TC business too, because why not? My wife's been doing all of our TC work, and we're working with a top tier TC who was, a little green, right? She took the top tier TC underwriting, but she hadn't really done any real estate before. So my wife's been working with her for a couple of weeks. We decided, hey, with her husband and I, we were like, hey, let's start our own TC business. I have a platform. I'll be able to get us a ton of deals, deal flow, and let's go. And I've had several other TCs interested in getting in on that. So, but just putting together, delegating, I as a business owner, I put myself in that position. So when you really learn to grow and scale, you have to learn to delegate processes and get the right people in the right place. Yeah. That's really what I took. My biggest takeaway was that I saw that what happens when you scale. If I had these people in place already, I could have just been like, bing, 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 and
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, having people that are good at what they do handle that job, and you can handle what you're good at, is just game changer for everybody involved, not just yourself, but everybody. Are you looking for people to come onto your team right now, other than TCs? Is there any other roles you're trying to fill?
Yeah, absolutely. We're looking for actually, what are we looking for? We're looking for people to help vet and underwrite deals still. We have one. We have some help with that, but we're actually so we actually do have some help with that. We're actually going to we're building a wholesale business, right? So it's in the early stages though, so we're not quite ready for that yet, but we have a VA and we pulled some lists, so we're getting some skip tracing done, and we're going to start building a wholesale team, and then keeping the really sweet deals, for our portfolio.
Yeah, love that.
Yep.
I have a question about the deal you were talking about. So the point you said that you can pay arrears and the mortgage company can still foreclose.
Yeah.
How is that? What's the law behind that? I've never heard that before.
That's a great question, but so he did say it was a very slim chance. So it's probably like similar to a Subto deal, right? Getting called, a due on sale clause getting called. Yeah. It can happen, but the chances of it are really slim. But I wasn't willing to take that chance with someone else's money. So I don't know, actually. I don't know the law on that. Yeah. Like you said, I focus on my strengths. I would like to know that, but we'll have to find out.
For sure. Yeah. So you've been doing this for a while. You've obviously gotten lots of momentum and you guys are doing really good. What's the one thing that you feel like has contributed to your success?
Oh yeah, if I could point out the biggest thing, it would be consistency. Because you can do all the things and take all the steps. If you're not consistent, it doesn't matter, right? I think that's the most powerful driving force. I mean, there's a lot of a culmination of a lot of different things, but being really confident in my abilities and the deals that we have is really important too. Like, I'm bringing capital partners for, our buddy Kyle Frizzell. They're like the #1 wrap buyers in Subto. I think they even buy deals from you guys. But they got 40 deals in escrow right now. Like, holy smokes! You think it's hard to find capital partners for a group that has a gajillion wraps already? Like, it's not that hard for me, because I'm super confident in them and their team, and that's what I sell. I sell Kyle and his team, not the deal. You know what I mean? So depending on what it is, but I mean, like, confidence is huge in relation to the consistency. I tell people all the time that you've got to be confident. If you have any shadow of a doubt about anything that you're doing, people will sniff that out, and they're not going to feel comfortable with you.
Yeah. I think those two go hand in hand. I mean, when you're more consistent, you become more confident in yourself. I mean, in anything, right? And making calls every day. If you're consistently making 30 calls a day, then you start to feel really confident making those calls every day. And if you miss and you're only making 1 call a day, then your lack of confidence is going to end up showing on every single phone call. So I think that those two are buddies when it comes to that.
Yeah. Aren't you? So you're a closer, aren't you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you're a badass, right? So like it takes confidence to close deals, man. You gotta know your stuff.
Yeah, it does. I always tell people, I think that, I mean, of course it's important to know what you're talking about, but I feel like even if you don't fully know what you're talking about and you just sound super confident about it, people are going to believe you. Like, confidence really shows through. And if you say things like, oh yeah, this is how we do it all the time, and you have no shadow of a doubt, then people trust you and follow what you say. So
100%.
Way. Yeah.
Well, and it ties in with the branding, everything I'm doing. I've been branding really heavily. I've got my own podcast, the Creative Collective, and, a Facebook group. We have 1,300 followers on our Facebook group, members, whatever you call it. But like, there's a lot of things I've been doing to clone myself, to get in front of more people, to add more value, so getting on podcasts like this, I love doing these, I've been getting on more and more, been invited, and I appreciate the time here with you and your audience, and your followers, because I love to just pour into people. The more people we help, the more deals we get, right? So it all comes back around. Like, not that I would still do it, you know what I mean? But it's just awesome because it just kind of organically starts happening. People start referring deals to you. You start getting, you get what you put out. So like, I'm putting out all this positive vibes and energy into the universe, and I'm getting it all back. You know what I mean? Try and stay positive and upbeat, because really, life's too short. You know what I mean? I'm not going to be negative Nancy. I choose to stay away from those people because they bring you down. I mean, no matter how positive and upbeat you are, that's why Pace says be careful of spending time with friends and family because they can drag you down. Like, so yeah, it's important, but I love what I do. And it's, the branding is a huge part of it. I basically, I feel like I've gotten it would have taken me 2 or 3 years to do what I've done in this 1 year, just because of all the branding and the podcasting and stuff that I've been doing. It's really made a huge difference in the growth of our business for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, branding is so important. And I think it can be, I mean, I even struggled with like making content in the beginning and like making a podcast and posting stuff on Instagram and like being kind of scared to put yourself out there or feel like maybe your stuff isn't good enough to put out there, that type of thing. Do you have any advice for someone that's wanting to start building a brand?
Yeah, that imposter syndrome, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, this isn't really, I call it, it's like the devil and the angel, right? The little figures. And that's kind of how I refer to it because it's just like a little voice in your head and you just gotta flick. I like flick my devil off my shoulder, right? So, because it's like, that's really all it is. It's not you. That voice is not you. And it's important that you learn to not listen to that voice. You got to learn to control your own mind. And like, really, that's at the root of everything is mindset, right? You got to learn to feed your brain with positive content, positive energy, positive, encouraging things. Like you can't believe the negative BS that you hear, because it happens all the time. People get this fear and doubt, right? If you're like you're new and you're 2, 3, 4 weeks in and you see somebody, oh, I just got in, I got my first deal in 1 week, and you're like, oh man, I've been in for 4 weeks, damn. And then this fear and doubt starts creeping in, and you just gotta tell that fear and doubt to shut the hell up. You don't belong here. And if it comes down to it, I mean, and most people do, but you gotta like JV, squat up, get on a team, something. Like that was something that I didn't. Sorry about that. That was something that I didn't do. The first 2 or 3 months, I was lost, flailing around. I didn't figure it out either. But I was a successful business owner, and I had done real estate, creative deals. I was like, I don't need no team, But guess what? I didn't get anywhere. So I started connecting with other people. And that's really where it's at, right? If you want to springshot your business, definitely get in and connect. And you're going to get a lot further. And I think I got rabbit trailed again, but yeah, I hope I answered your question.
No, it's surrounding yourself with the right people will help you a lot.
Yeah.
You're listening to negative people on Instagram or negative people on Facebook, then start to believe those things versus if you're listening to people like you who are promoting positivity and telling you can do these things and telling you how and encouraging you to level up your life, then it becomes so much easier to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And one of the really cool things I'm proud of is that I've helped over 25 Gators get their first deal now. And I need to actually tally it up, but that's really cool to be able to say that, I'm really proud of that. And I think it's super important for those of us who are taking action and doing deals to post the wins, because people need to see that. Like, I've only been in for a year. I haven't even been in Subto for a year. It'll be a year next month. My 1 year anniversary in Gator was on the 8th of October. And so in 1 year, like we've created a full-time income, out of between the Gator and Subto, and we're picking up properties. I haven't even talked about the properties that we've been picking up, so like it's, we're closing on a mobile home park. Finally, it's been I've been saying it for like 3 months now because it's just been a fiasco, but those multifamily and the mobile home parks, they take longer to get to the finish line, and that's okay. I had to pivot because I was, doing really focused on multifamily, and I had to pivot back into this because this is making me money, so we're building our portfolio, and doing this, and we're scaling this business so I can pivot back into multifamily and into mobile home parks. That's the plan.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's important for people to remember, like, you have gained so much success in the last year, but that is because you have worked so hard on building your brand, networking, putting yourself out there, taking action every single day, like massive action. You're connecting
Yeah.
with so many people, and you're not just sitting back and watching the YouTube videos or the Subto Vault and trying to
Yeah.
learn. You're out there constantly talking to people and doing everything you can to move that needle forward.
Absolutely. You hit it right on. And the networking events are huge too, getting out of your house to the network events, the big ones too. I just got back from BPCon. Man, I mean, those big events are crucial for growth, in my opinion. At least one a year. It's not an expense. It's an investment into your business and into your future. You know, people have a misconception. I mean, that is actually something I would say, yeah, put that on your credit card. You're going to meet somebody there that will impact your life. One person, you don't need to meet everybody in the room, right? My goal is to make a good handful of solid connections when I'm at those events. You know, so I got to meet Amy Majori. I got to hang out with Ziana McIntyre, the co-author of 30 Day Stay. You know, I get to hang out with her at Universal Studios in Orlando for like an hour. Yeah. I mean, where are you going to be able to do that anywhere else? You know, a famous author in our community, you know, famous authors that Bigger Pockets published their book. You know what I mean? So that kind of stuff, you just, you know, that's impactful. You know what I mean? And then I met like 2 or 3 PMLs, and I met some wholesalers that are wholesaling deals to some people I know. And I was like, what, you're their wholesaler? They're like, bro, we get deals all the time. I was like, yeah, you know, like that. I would have never met these guys. Yeah. I mean, all those experiences was, you know, and we got to go to Universal Studios for free for 4 hours, just the BP Con. It was amazing. Like, they had bars set up. They had booze set up throughout the whole park, free food and snacks. It was awesome. You know, awesome experience.
Yeah, it is so important to go to those meetups. Even if you can't go to maybe those massive ones, go to your local meetup and go hang out with people and make a goal. You don't have to talk to the whole room. Meet 2 new people and create those really good relationships.
You're on camera, honey. I don't know how to blur it. Sorry. Well, no, it's a live podcast. It's okay. She's got a little tank top on. That's why I was like, hey, don't come in here. That's why I say I don't know how to do the StreamYard background. I'm so new to it. I've only been on it a few times.
I'll teach you how.
All right, thank you. But yeah, like so even if you can't do the live event this year, set a goal. Like you said, set a goal to go to BPCon in Cancun next year, this time next year. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, that is a big goal. Like, that's what we do. We do goal setting every year. Thanks, honey. Yeah. We set goals every year. We're learning to get better at looking at those goals quarterly, you know, every 90 days. But we did a goal setting summit last year with Brandon Turner. It was like a 6-hour deal, and it was really, really good. And we hit most of those goals this year because we wrote them down. And then what we do, we make dream boards and put our dreams and our vision and our goals on that dream board in my bedroom every day. I'm looking at the things that I want to accomplish. You know what I mean? Super, super important.
Very important. We have Savannah. She said she's going to have to follow you. She is on our team. She works with us and she's awesome. And her and her husband really want to get into Gator. So that'll be fun. They'll have to hit you up.
Yes.
I need your help getting a Gator deal. I think you're going to be the one to get me my first Gator deal.
Let's do it. Yeah, I love it. It's funny too, because like we're vetting like 3 or 4 deals right now. I mean, any given week, dude, I'll be doing 2 to 4 deals a week in the Gator community. It's nuts, man. Like, once you build that pipeline and the momentum starts, you can't stop it. People are just like referring deals to me constantly. I'm not looking for deals already. 1 year. Like, that's just the power that networking and branding, you know, can do. Like, that's the power right there. Like, yeah, you know, you build that trust, you get people paid, and like, dude, it's get out of here. My dog trying to get my food. Get out. But yeah, it's wild. You know, I mean, things change so quick. Like we just decided to sell and move forward and sell everything and like pursue our dreams. And this is what happened. You know what I mean? And we're just at the tip of the iceberg right now. I tell people, oh man, we had a, $40,000, over $40,000 a month, like 45 grand last month. And I don't say that to brag. I say that because I didn't make, like 4 months prior, I made like $5,000. You know what I mean? In the momentum and all the stuff that's been culminating, and these deals started paying out, and that should be fairly regular. So my next goal is going to be like 100,000 a month. You know what I mean? Because like, why not? Why not? Yeah. Like, you're only limited by your own belief in your own mind. So.
Yeah, and I think it comes down to what you surround yourself with. Because when you're around people that make $5,000 a month, and you feel like maybe that's the max that you can do, and that's all you're capable of, and then you get around people at pace that's making 150 grand a month, 200 grand a month, or whatever, and you're like, oh, then I can totally do that, right? Pace has built out in 5 years, then why can't you do the same thing? It's not like these people are superhumans. They're normal people that just have taken action in the right direction, and now we can learn from the people to shorten your time frame. So love it. What do you need most in your business right now?
Good question. I need more deals. I have the funding, tons of funding. I need more deals. So like my sweet spot is $25,000 to $100,000, 1 to 6 months, preferably 1 to 3 months. If anyone needs help with any of that stuff. Also, we're looking to buy midterm rentals in Texas, Dallas, Houston, any major markets really. We're looking at 10% entry, so midterm rentals and pad split opportunities is what we're looking for.
Okay. If people have those opportunities, where do they send them? How do they find you?
Yeah, you can hit me up on Messenger at Lance Riggen. Just look me up, Lance Riggen on Facebook and at Lance Riggen on Instagram. My email is I don't know how to put my email in here, but my email is our general email is info at texasbnh.com.
Put in there. And do you have a podcast tonight? Do you want to shout out your podcast and how people can do that?
Yeah, thank you. And the host, I'm the co-host, so the host brought me in like about 7 months ago.
Oh.
It's the Creative Collective. It was REI Think Tank, but now it's Creative Collective Outside the Box. We have a Facebook page that you can join. It's open. It's free. We're going to actually make it harder to get in because we've had some spammers in there that are driving me nuts. I'll probably have a questionnaire, but also we have a YouTube channel that we have some really cool guests on. We've interviewed Vina Jetty, Abraham Gray, Christy LaBounty, the private money lender. We've had Angela Wayne on. Like we've had Jake Villaret's been on. We've had some really cool rock stars. Kyle Frizzell did the kind of Amori method walkthrough with us, but it's pretty dope.
Awesome.
We added a lot of value, I think. Tonight we got a guy who's coming on. Oh man, I can't remember his name. Dang it. It's not my guest, but he basically has a bunch of co-living spaces. Like he's going to come on tonight here in about 10 minutes. He's got like 150 co-living, like, buildings or whatever. Basically, yeah.
Really cool. So, yeah, everyone go hop on there, send them an email if you guys need deals put together, if you need money. Yes. Your guy, EMD, private money lending, all of those things. I am manifesting. We're going to do a deal together before the end of the year. I'm super excited about that. Thank you so much for coming on. You're so insightful. You have so much experience, and you always bring the energy.
I love it. Thank you so much. Pleasure was all mine.
Thank you guys, everyone that came on here. We really appreciate it, and we'll see you next time.
All right. See you guys. Thank you.